I'm sure y'all know exactly who y'all here for. But just as a reminder, wait, who y'all here for? Okay. Since y'all know what's up, can you press it down for me, please? I'm sorry. Yep. All right. Today we are hosting Clay Cameron with his colleague Reecie Colbert. And if I can get them to come out to the stage, please.
Back again. What's happening? Oh my God, look at all these people in Washington, D.C. Busboys and poets. Oh my gosh, how y'all feel? Oh my God, this is amazing. Busboys and poets. A few days before the New York Times bestsellers list hits. What happened?
Wave to the folks in the gallery.
Oh, the gallery. What's up, y'all? What's up? How you feeling? All right. You hear my voice? We good. Oh my God, Reecie Colbert's here with me. Oh, wow.
I see some Beyond the Mic folks here.
Beyond the mic? I see a Black Trivia Quiz player right back here. I see him.
Am I tripping?
Yes. Am I tripping? I see y'all. Oh my gosh, we are here.
We are, and this has been a spectacular week for me. Did y'all see the view?
Yes.
How did that feel to
To the right people, and I was on The View. So Reecie Colbert has changed my life. She has changed my life. And she was so kind, and she said the book was required reading, which is wild. And they were all right. But they were all so incredibly nice and just generous, and it was like a dream, you know. After it was over, I barely remembered it, and then I had to watch it back. You know, but the studio was so small. So then when I got there, I was like, this is like a Beyond the Mic audience. We've done a bigger Beyond the Mic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the studio is a very small studio. It's very quaint, but everybody there, Joy Behar, Sarah, Sunny was great. She was amazing. Body was banging. I said, Sunny, look at her. She's a bad mamma jamma. And Alyssa was very kind as well. It was beautiful. And really to have this book be platformed in that way, because, you know, part of the story of the Grift is that you get so much further when you are the Black Republican, when you are the Black person willing to be provide racial cover all the time. This book isn't that. This book is burning down Mass's house, you know. And oftentimes when you burn down Mass's house, you don't get platformed that way. Right. So the fact that it's gotten platformed in this way, I feel like Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and Ida B. Wells are proud. The original Black Republicans. I feel like they are proud. So I'm just so grateful and so thankful.
Yes, I would be remiss though if I did not acknowledge that it's been a monumental week, but it's also been we've experienced a monumental loss as well with the passing of the Black Eagle Joe
gave me a big hug. So I just, I was saying this on the radio, y'all, that Joe Madison, like, I can't deal with folks saying, I'm not going to vote, I'm not going to be this, I'm not going to be that. I mean, this man lived his life, like actually lived it. And then for Vice President Kamala Harris to call into the show on Air Force Two and make sure that she acknowledged Joe Madison on the Sirius XM Urban View airwaves was really special and powerful and touching, and I know he would be happy with that as well. Joe Madison, y'all, give it up for him, y'all. Give it up for him.
Okay, so now between the View and this book tour, this is stop number 4.
Wait, can I do something really quick? Can we shout out a few folks in the audience? Can we shout out to my girl, Wednesday co-host, just slaying on MSNBC last night, Amisha Cross. Amisha, what's up? Amisha Cross. Yes, Amisha. Looking like Jet Beauty of the Week, always. And we also have the one and only, your co-host, Erica Savage. Erica Savage, what's up? Always coming out to support, always coming out. I'm sure we got a few of my exes in the audience, but I ain't gonna talk about them. Yes. And we also have, can we shout them out? Exactly. I'm sorry, Reecie Colbert. Number one fan. What's your name? Dr. Sharon. Oh my gosh, Dr. Sharon, yes. Looking beautiful. I appreciate y'all. It's a beautiful audience.
My favorite thing about black people is they're going to put that, y'all.
Absolutely. Because you earned it. You earned it. Earned. But also, wait a minute. Earned it. But wait, can I just say, who here has already bought the book? I mean, can I thank y'all? Can I say thank you? For real, thank you. I got your tweet. You had the book at Barnes & Noble. I don't know what's going on with the state of Florida. It's hard to get the book in the state of Florida. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Mar-a-Lago heard about it. Clarence Thomas vacationing down there. I don't know what it is. But I want to thank y'all for real for pre-ordering, supporting, tweeting, hitting me up. It really means so much to me. I hope y'all love the book, so thank you. Multiple copies. Yo, like when this book, it's a win for all of us, a win for all these stories. You know what I'm saying? So, all right.
Now, these are the A1s, the day ones, and all that good stuff. But the question that the United States, people around the country are asking now is, what is the grift?
What is the grift?
Define for folks who don't know. They need to know what the grift is.
So the way that I define a grift is a con artist, a sellout, somebody who is scheming and plotting for proximity to power. And in the context of Black Republicans, it's somebody who shapeshifts around racial politics and racial identity by any means necessary, even if it means hurting and shaming their own community. So not everybody is identical. You know, the journey is different. People who were grifting in the 19th century, you might give a little bit of a pass. You're thinking, well, you know, they're right. What are they going to do? Although Ida B. Wells is dragging them. Frederick, they were going hard on them. But as we get further and further down to being removed from after the Civil War, you see people that taste. It's almost like a drug. Like, wait a minute. If I say this, if I do this, I'm going to get a big check. I might make it to the White House. I might be the assistant secretary. That's enough. I might be the attorney general of Kentucky and block justice for Breonna Taylor. Like, who knows what you could do? You know what I'm saying? And what I lay out is that it turns into a blood oath that you must do the bidding of the GOP. Now, some folks only grift for so long. Sometimes, that check runs out like Omarosa and you're back on reality TV. You just never know. She will always be in it. She will always be in it. Y'all heard that interview, right? Y'all heard that interview? Yeah.
I read the book. I know you went to YouTube.
It's just, It's still up. It's still up. Yeah, yeah. But so it's then they sometimes go on the apology tour, but some folks perfect it. Right, exactly. What did she say? Wait. She had a tissue. I was the conservative black woman on Fox News. Girl, I saw better acting on Mo Money. You know what I'm saying? Girl, I saw better acting in the Kanye video. But there's that. But then it all comes down to, I lay out in the book, you see the GOP, they are looking for other black Republican grifters. They are seeking them out because they need that racial cover. And if you can find the likes, Herschel Walker, they won't do that same mistake again. They want somebody a bit more polished. How can we get him in the United States Senate? Less lies and abortion and your butch queen son dragging you on the TV or whatever. Like they not that crazy, right? So yeah, it's a long-term game. It's a long-term game. With y'all, that was that too much? The butch queen son. That's what he is. He proud of it. He proud of it. That's what it is. That's what he's a butch queen. Butch queen means gay man, by the way. If you didn't know that, a little bit of slang. But yeah. So I mean, that's part of what the grift is, and it's scary. And I should say that you were pointing this out to me, that this does in many ways go beyond black and white, the R and the D. It's about the lengths that anybody in a community will go for access to power. Any community can do this, but with us, it has a particular experience in history, because once upon a time, when you think of chattel slavery, there were people who were rewarded for selling out Denmark Vesey, for selling out Nat Turner. They were rewarded for this. So our experience with this, I don't like those other terms. I don't use those terms. But I know Reecie don't mind. but our experience with betrayal in our community has resulted in death, in violence. So anybody who does that today is egregious.
Period. But to be fair, the book goes beyond grifters, right? I mean, it really talks about the evolution of the black Republicans from where they weren't. It wasn't all grifters. No. Frederick Douglass.
Yeah, Frederick Douglass, yeah. On down.
And I think that's what makes the book so important, because it's not one-dimensional. Mm-hmm. It's very nuanced. It treats the readers like intelligent human beings who can draw their own conclusions. And I was impressed. I don't compliment Republicans too much, but on The View, Alyssa, she talked about how she was, she was kind of guarded and she thought it was going to be a shit show. She didn't use words, but she was pleased with how fair it was, and I was pleased with how fair it was, because I think it makes it that much more informative and educational to leave that nuance in there. And so what struck me is I think that we can all agree that we're a little pragmatic and we understand there's levels to politics. There's a line between pandering. There are levels of pandering that are okay, that we kind of say, well, they black, they gotta say that. Mm-hmm. If you was white, you have to say that. But what is the difference, and your book lays this out, between pandering, kind of the acceptable range of pandering, and, as Julian Bond put it, political prostitute.
Right. So I think the line for me is if you are shaming and harming your own community. Yeah. So here's what, policy-wise, I didn't agree with Michael Steele, but you wouldn't hear him say, get off welfare. You're all on welfare. Get off the plantation. You're on the Democratic plantation. Black on black crime. You didn't hear those really deeply racist narratives, right? So when you're feeding into the worst part of stereotypes, because you're going to get a round of Fox News applause, and you're going to be celebrated, and oh my gosh, they left plantation ideology. That to me is the line of being a political prostitute and being somebody who's pandering, or Colin Powell, for example. Again, policy-wise, I didn't agree with him, but he would talk to black media. Yeah, absolutely. I have quotes in the book of him talking to Ebony and Jet Magazine. Now, policy-wise, I wasn't there, and as far as agreeing with him, but it wasn't this cruelty. And he understood why black folks were tired of the GOP, because I lay out in the book, by the 1960s, Senator Edward Brooke of Massachusetts said the Negro has been evicted from the Republican Party. There was a concentrated effort to kick black people out of the GOP. You know what I'm saying? And that's what outrages me, is that the current GOP, they won't acknowledge that. They won't acknowledge that. It's not that we love Democrats. Our parents are, I love you. I love you. I wonder if he tells that to Mindy. Does he tell Mindy, I love you? Who does he love more, Trump or Mindy? Trump, Mindy, Cotton to Congress. Jungle fever. You got jungle fever. Anyway. I was singing Stevie Wonder. Don't we all love Stevie Wonder? That was a hit record. I thought it was a hit record. No. That was a hit record. So yeah. Y'all know we gotta act up a little bit, y'all. You know, we can't be too serious. No, but yeah. So this is an important story of the GOP, and then one of the things that it was really crucial for me to do in this book is to remind Republicans of people like Dr. T.R.M. Howard, who was a black Republican. He was an abortion doctor. He was arrested in Chicago for performing abortions. To remind folks of Arthur Fletcher, the architect of affirmative action. That was a Republican policy, and y'all act like some bleeding white liberals created it, right? Like this erasure of our history goes so deep. I just wanted to reclaim that.
And you did.
Claim it. Name it and claim it. Name that bestsellers list.
So, with it being was it the first day? I feel like it was the first day of Black History Month. I'm urban music, so y'all already know where I'm going with this.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody called into the Clay King show.
They did.
And who that was caping for Lincoln?
Lincoln.
That's how I know they didn't read the book.
Right.
Because you can't cape for Lincoln after reading this book. But he asserted that, you don't like people that don't really want to know and everything. For Lincoln deserves all this credit for freeing
the slaves. And signing the document, he said.
The document. What document? What's the name of the document?
The document was called the Fugitive Slave Act. That's what he supported. But
you have to correct the record. But what I appreciate about the Grift was, as you said earlier, it's burning down Mass's house. And this isn't a takedown of black Republicans, black Republicanism. You brought that smoke, that fire, that heat to these Republican and Democratic
absolutely
figures like Lincoln, like Nixon, like Reagan. So
I even had a little bit of heat for Clinton. If you open a chapter,
you did.
That Welfare Reform Act was insidious. Yeah.
You kept the same energy.
Yeah.
Nobody was pulling no punches. So which particular narrative or which narratives? Because I know you ain't gonna just say one.
Yeah.
Did you particularly enjoy dispelling through this book?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was Lincoln, of course, because that's one of the biggest lies told in American history. That Lincoln freed slaves.
Thank you, Lincoln.
Right? Thank you, Lincoln.
I don't know, Lincoln, like, come on.
And you know what's so special? Right? You know what's so special that today on Twitter somebody hit me up and said, my 11-year-old read this chapter, and their jaw was on the floor because they said they didn't teach this in school. And it's funny, as I was writing the Lincoln chapter, so what I do, the first chapter is called Douglass, right? Because I get tired of folks saying we have to go back to the party of Lincoln. You should be saying go back to the party of Douglass, right? Douglass Republicans. Because Lincoln, if you know Lerone Bennett Jr., who I sourced in the book, he was forced into glory. He was muscled into glory. He didn't want black folks to fight in the Civil War. The only reason why he allowed them to fight was because he said, you know what, I'm going to lose this damn war. Yeah. And if I don't have more manpower, I'm going to lose, right? But then even when he does that, the before he's assassinated, this is such a crucial part that everybody leaves out. He was putting in a plan to forgive former Confederates because he wanted them to rejoin the Union. How are we going to get Mississippi and all these states back into the Union? So he was already reinstalling a white supremacy government.
Right.
He was forgiving these people who were taking up arms against the government. And Frederick Douglass was like, yo, what are you doing? You're giving this country, the South back to our enslavers. So people think Reconstruction was gutted because of Andrew Johnson, this horrible vice president pick, who replaced Hannibal Hamlin, who was anti-slavery. But Lincoln already had it in motion. And the Emancipation Proclamation did not free anybody. It didn't qualify in areas where he had jurisdiction, right? So all it did was allow black folks to fight in the Civil War. So I think, and in many ways, I think Lincoln was a good president. He created our first national taxation. I appreciate that. There's some things that he did, but when it comes to race, he was a white supremacist. And he says the white race is superior. He literally says it. They are. Right. His vision was to decolonization, kick all these black folks out of the country and bring them somewhere else. And black folks who have been there all their life, they're like, what are you doing? Up until the last 2 weeks of his life, he was still talking about it. He was tired of the N-word question, right? So I wanted to really remind people, listen, there are some good things Lincoln did as a president, sure. But when it comes to race, when it comes to black people, you had black soldiers being tortured, I had one report of the Fort Pillow massacre, having their eyes ripped out of their head, being nailed to barrels and their bodies exploding. Abraham Lincoln didn't say a goddamn thing about it. He said nothing about it. He was silent on it. So I felt like it was really important to dispel that. If you want to talk about him, Lincoln is a cult as well. There are a lot of scholars who make a lot of money off of praising Lincoln. A lot of scholars. So I wanted to just debunk that. And the second one was probably, the other ones were pretty easy. Do we think Reagan's that great? Reagan was trash. My God, Nixon was trash.
But James Brown said he was selling in.
James Brown said, I'm not selling out, I'm selling in. Well, what I also wanted to, this isn't about a president, but I did want to remind people of that watershed moment. Before the 1980s, there were some black Republicans who were really trying. They were trying to build cities, but they all had a wake-up call eventually.
The N-word wake-up call. That was
I didn't say that, she said it. I don't say that.
My words. Those are my words. We couldn't say this the day before the feast, so it's just a little spicy. We ain't got to worry about middle America tomorrow.
Y'all see that tan suit I was in? It was in honor of Obama. That tan suit was for Obama, baby. Then I had the purple tie, the color purple. There were messages on the outfit, damn it. Messages in the outfit. It was for Obama. It was for Obama.
But okay, the common theme in the book for me was the N-word wake-up call. They got it over and over and over again. They was very bitter when they got it. So my first question is, who got the biggest N-word wake-up call? And then the second one was, who handled it the worst?
Who got the biggest wake-up call? That's very interesting, because it depends on how high they made it to government, how bad was the fall. I'm not going to say N-word wake-up call, but I would say the wake-up call, I think, was pretty harsh for Colin Powell, right? So Colin Powell is famously talking at the 2000 RNC convention. He mentions the word affirmative action, and his party boos him. Boos him. And you know who speaks after him? Immediately after? Condoleezza Rice. They were back-to-back speakers. GOP said just... Right. GOP said just throw them in there. So, and then, and I talk about 9/11 in the book a bit. I think he made some egregious calls. He truly, the famous thing with the vial, weapons of mass destruction. But he really took the heat for that. And they dragged him, and he resigns after it. So or they say he resigned. So I think that it was my question, and I respect General Powell a lot, but I wish I could have interviewed him and just asked him, you say you're officially a Republican in 1995, and he said, I want to bring the party back to the party of Lincoln. It's interesting, there are these figures who think that they're the ones who could save the GOP from the clutches of white supremacy. Yeah, so I think for Colin Powell that was pretty intense, and then he leaves the party, right? He endorses Obama, Alexa, where's it? Oh, can I get one of those Langstons? Make it more like a Malcolm X or Detroit Red. Put a kick in it. Langston sound a little bit. Make it a Malcolm X. I need a good strong drink. So yeah. It's Black History. I love the names of their drinks. Can we get a cane drink too? Who's that? No, Kane, C-A-N-E, my name. A cane drink. Say my name. So yeah, who handled it the worst?
The worst. The least graciously, the most bitter. Upset.
Jeez, who handled it the worst? Well, I mean, one of them, I can't say it. Well, one of them went to the upper room, so that's not.
I know we're not saying her name. He didn't say it.
But listen, let's break this down. This is actually quite sad, right? This is very, and I talk about this in the book. Herman Cain, Morehouse man, defends Trumpism, ran for president. Accused of, before Trumpism, runs for president and is accused of sexual harassment, something like that, reportedly, allegedly. And he goes to a Trump rally without a mask, and he is a cancer survivor. And a few weeks later, he passes away of COVID. That's heartbreaking. And he's on video without the mask, and folks are dancing and running. It's just, that's an incredible loss, and it goes to show you how far the cult of Trump can go. So, on the roster though, she is something. So in the book, I have all this backstory of people talking about how she was hired in the Clinton administration and how she was fired, and one person said she was the worst hire they had. But it was so obvious. I mean, she said America will bow down to Trump. And considering this man said he wants to be a dictator now, I just feel like anybody who co-signed that administration, they should not be sanitized. Yeah. We are still recovering. We're still recovering from the work of that administration. And that language, bow down, that's just straight dictator language.
I just feel a little bad for her though, Trump called her dog. I did
that was disgusting. That was horrible. But I felt bad when she's speaking at NABJ, National for Black Journalists, and she called Freddie Gray a boy, and she was having this volatile moment with Ed Gordon, and allegedly she came after Simone Sanders. I mean, Omarosa she had an anger. She was waging war, it felt like, on black folks in media because we weren't falling for her grift, but we knew her pockets were swelling. So it's very, very interesting.
Well, we're going to do a spin on Am I Tripping?
Y'all know Am I Tripping? Wait. Before we spin, let's tell folks, Am I Tripping? Let me do it. Am I Tripping is Reese's amazing card game. AmITrippingGame.com. We play it on my show. I can't stop playing it. Basically, am I doing the instructions right? Basically, you have the cards, you pluck it, there's a scenario, you see who's tripping or not. It's a good first date scenario, mind you. It really can help you figure out who somebody's morals and values are, right? Right, exactly. And it's a whole lot of fun. We did it with Beyond the Mic. It's a whole lot of fun. It's great. So, okay, let's go for it.
Spoken version, but okay. So this is is one quote in this book where my jaw dropped. And I was like, I know the fuck I did not do that. So I'm going to read it. This was a person who was running for office in Arizona, Stovall.
Yeah, Alex Stovall.
Alex Stovall. He's still running shit. I looked at his Twitter. I'm like, who the heck is this? This is what he said. Now this is, I'm reading a passage from, do you want to read it or I'll read it?
I'll read it. Let me see here. Where are you at?
Right here, Stovall.
Oh, you got this small.
I know.
I'm 46 years old.
Can you read it? I can do it. You can see it.
Starting at the...
This part, this last little paragraph. That's it.
Stovall made it clear his only goal was to win, and even referred to himself as a monkey. Quote, "You don't win Arizona by being super right Republican. You never show all your cards, right? Yes, I'm a conservative, but I'm not going to beat on my big old monkey chest, running around, telling a whole bunch of people I am. It's going to turn people off, and no one's going to want to give me money." Unquote. So this is a great example of the grift, and this is prime example. Relying on hip-hop artists or celebrities is the way to reach black communities.
Right.
And we keep on seeing time and time again that it doesn't work.
I know.
The only person it worked with was Oprah, but she was beyond a celebrity. She was beyond that.
Yeah.
She wasn't a singer or a dancer. She was, at that point, really a cultural icon and a force. So I don't think that really resonated, and especially considering what the GOP stands for.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was kind of a tripping comment. And at the time, for folks who don't remember, he really got criticized for that.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Well, now hip hop is what? Jack Harlow?
Well, there you go.
Most Def says not Drake. Okay. All right, Frederick Douglass, he did not support. It's a little more complicated than that, but he was not entirely on board with supporting the right for women to vote back
was he
then?
tripping
Was
for
he
not
tripping
supporting
for not
the right
supporting-
women
well,
to
for
vote?
being okay with them being left out of the equation?
Okay, so I don't think he was tripping. Here's why. So
Ida B. Wells disagrees, but
let,
okay.
no. Let me break it down for you. No, actually, she kind of didn't.
She didn't. Okay, okay.
Let me break it down for you.
Okay.
So the 14th Amendment, his argument was not that I don't think y'all should be able to vote, but if this is in the 14th Amendment, it's not going to make it through Congress.
Yes.
And he was right. Because he knew how white men were. So he thought, this is not going to go through Congress. I'd love for y'all to be able to vote, but if it's in there, we're not going to be able to vote, meaning black men.
Right.
Right? But he, Susan B. Anthony, y'all know her, famous suffragist or whatever, she hears this and she goes all the way off. And she said we should give the right to vote based on intelligence. And she says basically that the Negro is not as intelligent as the white woman. Then she goes down to the South and campaigns against giving black men the right to vote. So it's not like Douglass was campaigning, right, for women. I think he was saying it won't go through Congress. And I don't think Douglass felt like he was superior to white women. He just felt like it wouldn't go through Congress.
Right.
So I don't think he was, I think it was pragmatic, it was practical, and I think it made sense. But I think, but let's not forget black women too, being left out. Sojourner Truth says that no one's even thinking about the colored woman, having rights. So but I think he was just thinking about Congress, and he understood how Congress worked.
So you said not tripping.
I don't think he was. I think he was right.
Okay.
Y'all get it? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. They weren't gonna. If that would have been in there.
Look, if we
Erica says no. He was tripping.
Erica said no.
But it wouldn't have went through Congress.
I listen. I'm for incremental over nothing. That's just me. But it's a hard pill to swallow. But black women weren't even part of the discussion, so don't.
I agree. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Okay. Maya Angelou supported Clarence Thomas for Supreme Court. Was she? And Rosa Parks was against him.
No, Rosa Parks said Clarence Thomas is dangerous.
Right.
And she was prophetic. She said he will make sure Roe v. Wade is overturned.
Yeah. So was she tripping?
Maya Angelou supported Clarence Thomas for the Supreme Court. Derek Bell did as well. Their idea, I think they thought that he's saying this crazy stuff now, but once he gets in as on the court, he won't be as heinous. But I think she was tripping. Yeah. With all due respect, we can see it differently. I think she was tripping.
Yeah.
I mean, Rosa Parks was screaming from the rafters that this man is deeply, deeply dangerous.
Yeah.
And, but yeah.
Listen to black women. Even if you're a black woman, sometimes you got to listen to sis over here, sis over there. Come on. Okay, I know that you want to get to some questions from the audience, so y'all put your thinking caps on with the questions. Y'all got a couple more minutes with this question. So on the book release day, the son of Arthur Fletcher, as you mentioned earlier, the father of affirmative action, called into your show, Mr. Paul Fletcher, to express his gratitude for the fact that you included him in this book. And I thought that it really just drove home the point that your book is not about putting people down. It really is about reclaiming our history, the good and the bad, the entirety of it. How did it feel to you? You didn't reach out to this person, they just heard about it and they went and looked like, I know my daddy better be in this book, if you talk about Republicans. And he was, and you honored him, and you were fair to him, along with others. How did it feel, though, to get that call on your show that day?
Yeah, that was amazing because Arthur Fletcher is a black Republican who I really respect and admired. Affirmative action began as a Philadelphia plan. It was about desegregating construction in Philadelphia, and then he managed to really expand this plan to make sure that we had better access to jobs and universities and so on. And he is a name, like I was saying before, that has been erased by the GOP.
Yeah.
They never mention him. So when Paul Fletcher calls in Arthur Fletcher's son and says, the first thing I did, I went to the index and made sure my father's name was there. And he said, thank you. Thank you. Now, he said, I am still a Republican because of who my father was,
Yeah.
but I don't associate with what this party is today.
Right.
But he said, I will stay in this fight because my father helped to make a lot of these policies, right? So that's like a reason why I wrote the book. You know, I can't imagine if you were, I mean, affirmative action is one of the most, that's a household policy.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
knows what that is.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they literally gutted it under this demon, Edward Bloom, right? So the fact that I could acknowledge it in that way, and so many folks will now know that name even more, younger people, that just means a lot.
Yeah.
And so if you're at that barbershop or you're at that beauty salon and you hear that word come up, you know that, wait a minute, like the GOP is destroying this, but it came from a Black Republican.
Yeah.
And again, it's a strategic reason why they don't say these names. They don't say Senator Edward Brooke because he was pro-life.
Yeah.
He was against the death penalty. He was the first senator to call for Richard Nixon to step down. That's what I'm talking about. You can be a Black Republican, but you got to call out the party when they're wrong.
Yeah.
You don't endorse a racist for president. You don't endorse somebody who just sat down with a white supremacist 6 months ago. Then you endorse them for president, cotton to Congress. Like, that's crazy. And someone like Arthur Fletcher is a shining example of fighting for policies that you may not agree with everything, but he wasn't anti-Black.
Right,
You know?
right.
So yeah, that was a biggie for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, before we go to the audience, I have to say I am so tremendously proud of you, as I'm sure we all are. Congratulations on a massive book launch. Hundreds of copies sold here, autographed copies, and Busboys has additional copies they told us earlier, right?
Yes,
that
absolutely.
that they're having in stock.
We most certainly do, yeah. There'll be news about it after the program.
Okay, there you go. Hello.
Well,
So I just wanted to say that.
Well, I want to say thank you, Reecie Colbert. If y'all listen to the Clay Kane Show, Sirius XM Urban View, channel 126,
Monday to
12
Friday.
p.m. to 3 p.m. You know, Reecie has been such an advocate for this book. She's been selling the books. I'm like, damn, that was good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because she believes in me, and we've been a great partner in crime together. And she's been a huge support. So I really want to thank you. I love you. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, y'all. What y'all got to say?
So
I
let's
know
do some
y'all
questions,
not
y'all.
shy.
Let's do some questions from the audience. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on?
I know
First
y'all
per-
eating good and drinking good.
First person to put the hand up gets the mic.
Dr. Sharon. Yay.
First of all, I just want to say this is just a blessed experience, and I just pray continued abundance upon your life.
Thank you.
And this work is critical, particularly in this political climate that we're in, and I've just learned so much. But my question to you is, what criteria did you use to select who you were going to write about in this book?
It's a great question. So the good thing about the book is that each chapter focuses on one or two people. A couple focus on three people. And I did that because I wanted you to be able to bounce around.
Right,
So you
right.
could read the Clarence Thomas chapter, you can read the chapter on Trumpism, you can read the Michael Steele chapter, and be able to, you know, get whatever you need to get out of it. But the reason why I chose those people is because these were, at the time, the critical people that were influencing politics, right? So I have a chapter on Booker T. Washington. He wasn't an elected official, but he was influencing politics. He was influencing policy. His 1890 Atlanta Compromise speech, 6 months after that speech that I think is heinous, Plessy versus Ferguson gets into law. That's the other thing about the grift, that, you know, we can laugh at some of these folks today who sound like buffoons on steroids, but some of this really disturbing rhetoric becomes law. It becomes actual law. And the original Black Republicans, they didn't believe in colorblind politics. They believed in race-conscious politics. They believed in that. So I wanted to see, I focused on who was the figure at the time, who was shaping policy or who was deeply influential. And that's the way that I laid it out. And also, you know, in certain periods, there aren't many folks to talk about.
True.
You know, because they're being pulled out, they're being erased. So that was how I zeroed in on one person to make it accessible. And to not make it a heavy academic didactic read. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
And it really was masterful the way that you told a couple of centuries worth of history in a way that was really digestible and felt whole and complete, but still very much rooted in the purpose of Black Republicanism and how that changed.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Okay. We're from Philly. We came down today for this.
Hey, West Philly.
Philly in the house, born and raised.
52nd and Diamond, Clay.
Oh, my,
I'm just saying.
52nd and Diamond. Oh, I remember those days.
I called your show once, and you said, I know those streets, so
Yes,
I'll hold
yes,
you to
yes.
it. This book is impossible to get in Philly. We want to tell you, had to almost kill people to get it.
Oh, my
But-
goodness.
Oh, wow.
So, and we're all proud of you.
Thank you.
And Gay Philly is proud of you, too.
I appreciate it. Those days.
In
13th
your-
Street, baby.
That's right. I was looking through the index. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. Like, I saw Kanye West is referenced 3 times in the index. What person, when you were researching and putting it together, what person is in the book that you were maybe surprised that you had to include?
That I had to include, you said?
That you were so outraged, you're like, oh, I got to put this there.
Isaiah Montgomery. Isaiah Montgomery is a Black man from Mississippi. He founded a town called Mound Bayou. Mound Bayou. He was a formerly enslaved person. He and his father and his brother managed to create all this wealth. He was a delegate at a state constitutional convention in 1890 in Mississippi. And he voted against Black men being able to vote. It's the epitome of the grift. It is the epitome of the grift, right? And he gives this speech, and I found the full speech.
Oh, wow.
The speech is fucking disturbing.
Wow. Damn.
He basically says, these Negroes are too dumb to vote. I mean, it's vile. And you would think it came from like a white supremacist, right? And one might say, well, maybe he voted that way because he was afraid, I don't know, of his town being, you don't know why he voted this way. But the speech is so heinous, it's like, why did you go this far? But then, the response from the media, it was like Fox News.
Yeah.
All the papers, all of them, they were like, oh, he is a brilliant orator.
Speaks so well.
He has a colored skin, but his brain is smart, like crazy stuff. It's so vile. And then so I'm writing it and I'm thinking, well, Clay, he was formerly enslaved, I don't know. But then you got Frederick Douglass, Ida B. Wells, nearly every Black person with a voice slamming him. And Frederick Douglass said, this is so prophetic, he says, others will be dazzled by fame and imitate his bad example. I said, oh my God, that describes the grift right there.
Right.
You are dazzled by fame, and now I will imitate this. And so for a while, Mound Bayou was a thriving town, but then 50 years later, it just goes down into poverty. And when he passes away, there's a, I have it in the book, but there's someone who says that this was the most hated Negro in Mississippi. A Black man says this.
Wow.
So, and then the person who eulogized him was a well-known white supremacist.
Jeez.
So it's an interesting, but even in that story, I give grace because
you did.
I don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
But I did have to highlight the Black media at the time who just ripped him to shreds.
Yeah.
So it's that was really interesting to me. And so many stories like that where you're like, oh my gosh, like even back then. But again, that taste of power, that proximity to power, it's intoxicating. But what does it mean if it's gonna hurt your own people? If you're gonna disenfranchise your own people, what does it mean? Is it worth the price of your soul?
Yeah.
You know?
I thought it was, I mean, we know you, we trust what you have to say, but I thought one way you really built credibility with the readers was how you did draw on those contemporaneous reports of how they were being talked about by their peers during that time. And that really added so much more depth to it and nuance. And so, it's not just you right now in 2024 in hindsight saying it. this is what their peers were saying.
I mean, it was great. I would just be like, well, what did Ida say?
Yeah.
Ida was killing it. What did Frederick say? What did so-and-so say?
Yeah.
And what did Cleveland Gazette, great black newspaper. Anglo-African, great black newspaper. The power of black media is just consistent all throughout our time here. It's really important.
Yeah.
All right.
Clay, thank you so much for your investment of time for writing this book. Hey, Reecie Boo.
Hey.
My question for you is, this book in the general election, what is your hope with the way that you have distilled history, essentially, to affect the electorate, considering the timing of this book?
Thank you. So, to quote Ida again, Ida B. Wells said, and I'm paraphrasing here, the way to right past wrongs is to shine the light of truth upon them. So, this book is an act of resistance, and I hope by shining a light of truth, it'll wake people the fuck up, right?
Period.
A lot of us are sleepwalking. We think everything is fine. We're not engaged. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you don't do politics, politics will do you. I want people to read this book. You had black Republicans in the 1860s, 1870s showing up, not even realizing the executive branch wasn't even possible.
Right.
They showed up 80% voter turnout all throughout the South. So they could take over the South and build public education, build black communities, right? So I wanted to wake people up. The last chapter is a what's next chapter. And I talk about, I used to be a non-voter. I was a young, dumb non-voter because I wasn't informed. I didn't know civics. That wasn't taught in my school, right? So my hope is this book is accessible enough to see the urgency of now. Because this is a Reecie quote. This is not only about the fight for democracy, it's the fight for citizenship. We have had a functioning democracy before, but most of us in this room wouldn't have had full citizenship. So the democracy language, no, citizenship.
Yeah.
If you are a woman and you don't have privacy in your doctor's office, you don't have full citizenship.
Hello.
If you are a black person and you got to fight for your history being told, books being removed, I don't know why you can barely get this book in Florida. I don't know what's going on. Your citizenship is at risk.
Yeah.
If you're a gay person and you can't freaking go to a drag show, your very citizenship is at risk. And when I hear about Project 2025 and giving more power to the executive branch, I just hope that people could say, wow, you know what? These are some heartbreaking stories in here. I'm outraged. You know, Whoopi Goldberg told me after the show, she said, this book was incredible. She goes, by the end of before the what's next chapter, my blood was boiling. You closed it out, and I was like, She goes, and then you added that what's next chapter, and it gave me hope. I walked away saying, oh, we could do something.
Yeah.
I have sections about Bet on Black. I talk about the two-party system and how we had the critiques of that. And also, I do believe, I know this may sound kind of hokey, but I do believe this country's greatest strength is being a multicultural country. I believe it's a strength of ours.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a negative thing.
No.
I don't want to erase identity. You know, you learn from your friends who are Jewish. You learn from your friends who are West African. You learn from your friends who are Italian. You learn from your friends who are Black American. This is the beauty of us. I want us to embrace the beauty of us. So my intention is that maybe, I don't know, 10,000 folks will buy the book in Michigan, and that makes them vote in 2024. Maybe 5,000 folks will buy the book in Mississippi, and they can elect somebody on their city council who has their best interest at heart, who believes in reparations. I hope it just activates people.
And I hope that it forces the mainstream media to platform Clay Kane when you're looking to, well, what do black men think about this election? Quit going to the fucking barbershop. Okay, and I'm not saying that you can't go to the barbershop, but that's not the only place where black men are, and not the only people who have opinions.
You know, and I just want to shout out Amisha Cross.
Yes.
She was killing it last night.
Yes, she was.
And I'm paraphrasing here, but one of the things Amisha said is that you got to remember, you know, black men vote Democrat higher than any other racial demographic.
Exactly.
And you notice, like, every election cycle, I have this in the book, in the 80s, they were saying, Reagan's getting the black vote.
Yeah, yeah.
He's getting it. It's every election. And listen, Democrats got to work harder. They got to be
Absolutely.
smarter.
And you
They gotta-
say that.
Yeah, they got to be better. They got to have better messaging. But stop infantilizing black male voters, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a strange narrative I'm hearing every election cycle. Makes me very uncomfortable. Why don't we talk about white male voters? Hispanic male voters, how they're voting, right?
Right, yeah.
So and listen, I'm on these radio airwaves 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, and I just don't feel like they got to do better, but I don't feel like it's the crisis that the media makes it out to be.
No, it's not 85% of black men
Right.
are pro-Trump. That's 85% of the stories about black men, but that's not the reality. But this book helps inject into that conversation. Somebody who knows better.
What I do know, the black men who are voting for Trump or not, the largest voting bloc is the non-voter.
Right.
The reason why Gary Chambers doesn't win in Louisiana is because of voter turnout.
Child.
The reason why Mike Espy didn't become senator in Mississippi is voter turnout.
Yeah.
So it's always that voter turnout threshold number. That's what it always is.
Right.
I think we have a question back here.
So we're actually going to pivot to the live stream because they have been so patient.
Oh, live stream, what's up, y'all?
Yeah, we got
I ain't never
150.
really gone.
We got 150 people on the live stream right now. We got some
Awesome.
Live stream, what you
questions.
got?
Yes.
So first, Margot L.
Two
Harris.
senators, no.
Margot L. Harris says, "Congratulations, Mr. Clay Kane and Miss Reecie Colbert."
Hey,
Bonnie, oh, not that one. Smiley Forever 66 says, "Question for Clay: which one Black Republican you believe did the greatest work to empower us?"
oh my gosh. Which black Republicans did the greatest work to empower us? That is a good question. I'm going through the archive. Okay. 2, Robert B. Elliott and Robert Smalls. They're one of the first black Republicans elected in Congress. And I believe Elliott is South Carolina. I think they were both elected in South Carolina. Let me tell you something. Their speeches were incredible. They were calling out white supremacists. They were building public education. They were building black communities. And these are folks that don't get a lot of attention, but their work in Congress was incredible. I believe it was Elliott, either Elliott or Smalls. They migrated from West Africa, I believe. A lawyer becomes a lawyer in South Carolina, passes the bar. Just really brilliant minds. But what's sad is that they died in poverty. That they're eventually pushed out of Congress with the fall of Reconstruction. Yeah. And I really wanted to highlight their work. I wanted to highlight the great things that they were doing. One of the, because it's both Robert, I can't recall off the top of my head, but one of them, the space that Tim Scott held when he first got into the House, that's the space that one of them held. Yeah. So that's why it's so disgusting that you were literally there because of people who were the first progressives, and you were doing the exact opposite. So Robert B. Elliott, Robert Smalls, incredible, and I really quote their speeches in the book. They really did amazing work. And in a different time, they really could have been president, honestly. They were incredible. Yeah. They had Westmore energy. I know Reecie Colbert loves Westmore. I'm telling you. They had Westmore energy, for real.
All right. Miss Tonia says, "Listen all the time. Remember when Clay only had 30 minutes and now 3 hours?" Yeah.
Well, more like 45, 50 minutes.
All right. A second question from our folks online. From Dr. Kim Proctor. She got the PhD at the end.
Hello.
Question: can you estimate how much time you put into the research for this book? And what types of medium, aka video, articles, books, did you use?
There's nearly 1,000 sources. Took me over 2 years to write. Put so much research into it. I probably oversourced, but in this alternative facts land, I thought it was really important.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, you can't get everything in a book. I'm sorry, online. So I had to go directly to libraries, do all this research. Video, I use what's called ProQuest a lot.
Yep,
ProQuest has a lot of historical archive articles. And then I love reading historical articles, so I would just be digging in and looking for gems here or there. And then I would find one source from like another book, but I wanted to read the entire source. So I really tried to get a lot of primary sources, but it's video. I watched so many videos. I watched so many Condoleezza Rice interviews, like one where she defended Confederate monuments, which is kind of weird. I watched so many, listened to so many podcasts. I just was trying to just absorb any and everything. So it was 2 years of, and then also my major in school at Rutgers was African American Studies.
Yeah.
I never threw those old books away. Something in my spirit told me I'm going to need these books. And so I thankfully had some really great books that aren't even available online that has some really good documentation. Yeah.
All that on top of holding down Sirius XM, writing for multiple outlets.
Being a political commentator.
Going on bad dates, you know.
Oh,
It's a lot of work.
How many big head texts have
so
you
y'all know he's single. All right. Again, for Miss Tania, she says, will there be a part 2 for this book to talk about the history on the Democrats? It would be cool to have both sides.
Yeah, I don't know. I try and just go like James Baldwin says, go the way your blood beats, go the way your blood boils. So,
Don't nobody want to buy books on Democrats. I'm gonna tell you, take it from me, Chance. Stick with the Republicans.
But the Democratic side's a little bit different. Again, we began as Republicans.
Yeah.
So I wanted to really take a historical lens look at it. So I don't know, but my next book might be something totally different.
Well, you mentioned about your mom on the radio.
Yeah, could be that, or it might be a book called White on White Crime. I don't know. We'll see what it is. For folks who don't know, I have a segment on the radio called White on White Crime. I don't know. It might be that.
They're definitely not stocking that in Florida. You will not find that one in Florida.
Exonerated. There's a lot there.
Exonerated. That would be, yes. An anthology. Is it called an anthology if it's nonfiction?
It could be. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So, what's up, Clay?
What's up, sir?
Chilling. So, first of all, I want to recommend also, please check out the audio book. It's also amazing.
Thank you.
Great driving, yeah. And I'm looking forward to hosting you at American University tomorrow.
We're going to be at American University.
Yes.
So, my question is the same question that Susan T has on the live stream. What are your thoughts and comments about just today, like Joyanne Reed was calling out 50 Cent for saying maybe we need Trump now because he's mad at like these credit card things in New York. What are your thoughts on rappers out there? Are they some of these guys, are they also trying to be part of this grift, or is it something else we're missing?
I had a whole chapter on celebrities.
Yeah.
I still have it on my computer.
Oh.
I had a whole entire chapter, but it just didn't make sense to include it because I really focus on political figures. But yes, there is I said it on The View, that spreading propaganda is profitable. Being contrarian is profitable, and it can get you a headline on Fox News. It could sometimes even get you in the White House briefly.
Yeah.
When I think of, celebrities like rappers, maybe they're enjoying the tax breaks. The GOP, they're rich. The GOP really could be benefiting them, right? So yeah, I think that's definitely a grift there, and there's this intersection of capitalism. And for me, it's just so heartbreaking because it's just clear as day the danger. When I was between break, I was talking to Joy Behar, and she said, Clay, I'm really scared about this if Trump ever gets back into office. And she goes, a show like this would be done. They're putting in lawsuits to sue somebody for calling them a racist. If he gets into office, people forget that North Korea wasn't always North Korea.
Right.
When Germany becomes Nazi Germany, it wasn't always that way. I believe if he gets back into office, we may not be able to have a radio show.
Like the underground radio
exactly,
show.
the underground radio. So yeah, I think it's egregious. I think it's sad. I think it's uninformed. Nobody checks them. I think they're enjoying the tax breaks, and I don't think it should be forgotten. For me, when Kanye West said that, what was the exact quote? Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner aren't relatable. I was done.
Yes.
I was done. That was it for me. But then respect, and I say this respectfully, he makes those comments, and then I don't know if it was a year later or a few months later, he's performing at Howard University. So, we have to also say this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. When remember the Dixie Chicks? Remember them? When they clapped back at President Bush,
They were canceled.
they were thrown right out of country music. They said, "Oh hell no, you are never." Their career hasn't been the same since.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, I want us to have that kind of fire.
Can I also just say that our taxes have gone up every year because of the Trump tax scam.
Right.
That 50 Cent is so happy. All these rich rappers, rich for now, I should say, they're raising our taxes. They don't care about that.
Wait a minute, hold up.
Oh, shit.
If y'all listen to my show, you know I have an amazing foreign policy expert on. Victor Lagruna. I didn't know you were there with Amisha. Victor, what's up? Thank you, Victor. Foreign policy, baby. And honestly, if I ain't an expert, I'll get somebody on to talk about it. I don't know everything.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. What's up?
Absolutely, man. Proud of you, man. This is.
Thank you.
Our people and our culture need this so bad, I can't even put it in words. So, Clay, you and I move around a lot in the world, and we've met many a grifter personally. Can you share for the audience, what is the commonality, the common thread between all the grifters that you've researched? What is that thing? Because it's more than just money, right? Some of it is access, some of it is proximity. But can you talk a little bit about that character flaw that is easily identifiable?
Character flaw.
Right. I think the first thing is you realize it's conscious. It's not brainless. It's not accidental. It is a blueprint. It is beyond being an opportunist.
Yeah.
You hear all the key things. I've said it before. You hear, I'm an independent thinker. I think for myself. The Democratic Party is the party of slave owners. When Republicans own slaves too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't realize that. Lincoln freed the slaves. It's all of the little tropes that you hear. And it's a script. It's an obvious script. So I think when I hear some of those, you see it on social media, like, oh my God, you can almost, it's predictable. It's predictable. Yeah. And then when you see their social media followers skyrocket, then when you see them working for a conservative organization, you're like, okay, your pockets are swelling. Now, there are some people, and I say this in the book, I understand, black folks who have concerns about immigration or are very pro-gun or have various opinions about abortion. I can have a policy discussion, but to that point, it's rarely ever about policy. It's rarely ever about policy. Right. It's about this disturbing ideology.
Yep. Propaganda.
And in wars of ideology, nobody wins.
That's exactly right.
It's just a war of ideology. Right. So those are some of the key things that I see. I think we had a question back here.
Yes. I am honored to be here and very proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm here with a good sister of mine that made sure I got here, and I have some issues, but Sheila, thank you for bringing us.
Oh, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Sheila.
My question is, I'm a grandmother. I have 6 children and 14 grandchildren.
Wow.
I didn't know the setup here tonight because I have a genius at home who, her name is Journey, and actually I wanted to bring her tonight, but I didn't want her to go through no situation.
Right.
My question is, would you consider writing this book for a child to read?
That's interesting.
I wanna elaborate just a little bit more. Mm-hmm. The language in which, and I have not read the book, but your conversation on The View and now have helped me to understand that it's a lot of missing places laid on the backs of our youths.
Yeah.
So they're being sent the message that it's no use.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
And this book, for me, even though I haven't read it yet, is a response to there's hope, and hope is alive.
Absolutely. Yo,
Yes.
I believe in hope. I still have hope. It's not over. We still have time. You know, I haven't thought about that, writing it for like kids. But I do think the book is accessible for teenagers.
I think so.
I
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
do. I think it's written in a way that I feel like it's easy to understand. I add a little bit of narrative to it, so there's still it'll keep you intrigued. But I'll definitely think about that. Hey, listen, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And the book isn't about indoctrinating anybody. It empowers you as the reader to get the information and draw your own conclusion. I think that is particularly friendly for even a younger audience.
Absolutely.
How many of you saw Clay on The View? Yeah. All right, we're going to take one more question from the audience in here. Okay. His hand went right up.
Hey, Clay and Reecie.
What's up?
Hi.
I love you both. I
Thank
just have
you.
to start out with that. I wanted to first show off my Joe Madison shirt.
Hey.
What are you going to do about it?
Joe Madison.
The Black Eagle.
Yes.
Vote. Now, it says vote 2020, but I'm hoping that I can call Sherry and get her to do vote 2024. But I really want to, first of all, congratulate you on your book. I think it's phenomenal. I bought 3 copies so far. I got to get another one because a friend of mine texted me who couldn't make it and said, get an autographed copy for me today. So I got to do that. But I wanted to ask you, as far as, the Joe Madison mantra, what are you going to do about it? What can we all do here in this room, to take what you've written? Because I think you're brilliant, man. I just got to tell you. I listen to you every day for 3 hours. And Reecie, I listen to you every Saturday, you and Erica.
Yes,
And I think you need another hour. They need to give you another hour.
I could use that.
1 hour is not
Speak
enough.
it out. Speak it.
I'll take
I
it.
love you, and please keep cursing.
Thank
Look, Reecie, I want you to get that cuss jar. Somebody's.
In honor of the
We
Black
gotta
Eagle,
carry
I'ma
on
get
the
a
Black
cuss
Eagle.
jar.
We gotta carry
But
on
I'm
that.
not putting money in it. Somebody else. If you offended, then you come and you put it in a cuss
I will
jar
put some
on my
money in that
behalf.
jar. But I really want to know, what do you suggest all of us do? Because we have to get these folks who are not voting to vote. What can we all do to take your message forward to these folks who are not voting? Thank you.
That's the biggest question, right?
Yeah.
It's all about voter turnout. It's all about being engaged. Listen, I would say a couple key things. I mean, if you're talking to somebody who is not voting, I would say don't attack them. Don't shame them, unless they get real ignorant and they, suddenly think that they know everything when they really can't
And they
name their
don't know
two
they two
senators.
senators.
Exactly. But I would say, ask them, what's important to them. What's important to you? What matters to you? Because at the end of the day, it probably is going to come down to a voting issue. And listen, if for some reason they refuse to vote on for the presidential level, I would say at least encourage them locally.
Yeah.
Like, it will start somewhere. It's just one tool in the toolbox, but if you aren't using that tool, you are disenfranchising yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I said it earlier, if you don't like what you see, the idea should be vote them out to get someone in that you want in there.
Yeah.
There are some people, and I also say refer them to people that are doing some really great work in Congress. There are folks doing, I mentioned Alma Adams on The View, who wrote the HBCU bill that Trump gets credit for. There are people in Congress that may not be headline news, it may not be breaking news, but there are folks in Congress who are doing some really good work. So those are the key things, but it is the golden question, because we live in a country where so many of us are just not engaged, and I don't want to get to a point where we all have a tragic wake-up call. There's this part in the book Handmaid's Tale where she says, this is where they take away all rights for women and they force them to be, these just property of men. And they say it again? Incubators, exactly. And they say, and she writes, there wasn't even protesting on the street. And it was already too far gone before we could do anything.
Yeah.
And we could get to that point. We think this thing can stand easily. And the last thing I'll say is that we have to really be careful of language like the lesser of the two evils. You know, we have to see the differences.
Yeah.
You know, Democrats have an issue. I say this all the time. We do not know how to celebrate our wins. Republicans will celebrate a loss and make it a win. We'll make a win into a loss.
Right.
If something good actually happens, celebrate that, acknowledge that. Well, it's a good thing there's a $35 cap on insulin. That's a good thing.
Absolutely, yes.
It's a good thing we have a PAVE action plan that combats racism and home appraisals. That's a good thing. $130 billion of student loan debt forgiven. That is a good thing. A historic appointment of black judges to a federal bench. That might be our only guardrails to protect our citizenship. So there are some key things that have happened. The infrastructure bill going directly into cities like my hometown of Philadelphia.
Yeah, you can't drive without some construction.
Right. You know, and also making sure that contracts are going to black contractors, right?
Come on.
These are good things. So let's be able to celebrate our wins versus saying nothing's being done, nothing's being done. So those are the key things that I could say, and I hope a book like this can just trigger people, wake them up, and spread the word. But even if we still have lower voter turnout, everybody who is engaged, I think that we have to keep them, activate the base, and just try to ensure that we all show up.
Can I answer a slightly different question?
Please, go ahead.
Because we've talked about this on air. There is so much that we can do as individuals to help champion Clay Cane and this book. You're already here, so you're a champion already. Reviews online.
Please, yeah.
We do not want the trolls to win and manipulate the reviews. You can go on there and make sure you leave reviews. When you see something about Clay, interact with it, because what happens is everything we see and how we see it, it's all calculated in the algorithms. It sounds very conspiratorial, but it's the truth. And so when our interactions, likes, retweets, quote tweets, whatever, comments, that is programming what everybody sees, because what that tells social media is that, oh, this is what people want to see. So on Barnes & Noble now, or other platforms, now you see Clay Cane, the Grift, top this, best new seller, mover and shaker, this, that, and the other. And so we cannot passively enjoy this book. This is not going to be the best kept secret. No, we have to scream it from the rooftops. And so whenever you see Clay, even if you ain't watched the clip, I'm giving you a cheat code. If you didn't watch the clip, child, just like it. If you see, The View has been big up in you, child. They done posted you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, love, okay? Yeah. So when you see...
You better quote, what is this, Sherelle Alexander O'Neal?
Saturday,
you better know her.
You might have seen it. You might have retweeted it, child. Retweet it again. You don't have a quota, okay? So that's what our charge is, to be a part of this Champions for Cane, Clay Cane, and make sure that as long as we're saying this is important, everybody else has to stand up and take notice. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
And again, thank y'all, because this is the beginning. This isn't that, okay, well, I
No,
saw
this is
Clay
the
and that's
beginning.
it. Nah, but we got work to do, because 2024 is a long road ahead.
You got some online questions? Yeah, let's
I
go.
do.
Oh, okay.
So first I got some comments, because people are being real nice in these comments.
Aw.
Alexis Crump said, Clay inspired me to go back to school to study African American history.
That means so much to me.
Dr. Kim Proctor said, thank you, Clay. Love your dedication to this book.
Thank you.
Let's see. Adrian Johnson said, Clay, how does it feel to be a best-selling author and soon to be New York Times bestseller?
Lord have mercy. We'll see. I don't want to jinx it.
It's done. It's already done. Come on, amen.
All right. Lots of, I just ordered my copy.
Yes.
Lots of this and that.
And listen,
Some-
I should also add, if you can't get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, go to bookshop.org.
Yes.
Bookshop.org. They have the books there as well. And if you're watching online and you're not here, Busboys and Poets, and they've been so great. They're going to have
Shout out to
autographed copies.
Busboys and Poets.
And I want to also say, many years ago, God, what year was that? 2008 or so? I forgot. Was Obama in office?
Oh, Lord.
Maybe it was 2009. I look at my life before and after Obama. That's my dude. But I came to Busboys and Poets. I came here, and I walked in. It was a first date, and I was like, wow. Like
A first date?
It was a first date. Yeah.
I just called that.
And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, you know my personality. He goes, oh yeah, I had a feeling you'd like this place. And I saw the books, and I said, one day I'm gonna have a book in Busboys and Poets.
Look at God, won't he do it?
I mean this from my heart. I've been here. Y'all have gotten so much of my money. I come here whenever I come to DC. I love the food here. I had a birthday party here one time. Like, I love Busboys and Poets, so it is such an honor to be here. I remember in the lobby looking over there, envisioning my book being at Busboys and Poets. So this just means so much to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Clay, for coming and joining us. We're so excited. We're so glad. And we will have copies of his book available at all of our locations starting on Tuesday. They'll be signed. We have additional copies here at 14th and V. And like Clay said, if you don't want to buy from Boo, Amazon, boo, you can always go to bookshop.org. You don't necessarily have to support Busboys and Poets books, but choose an indie bookstore for your book needs.
Yes. It seemed like, did you have something just real quick? Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
So are we going to, how are we going to?
I think we're going to tell goodbye to our live stream folks real quick.
Okay. Bye, live stream. Bye. I ain't never really gone.
Hey,
All right.